Chicken and rice halal cart style. Absolutely incredible. And yes, we got the white and the red sauce. Just sit back and relax. This was a good one. You'll already know for optimal results, we're going to be using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. To ensure an even cook, sometimes there's a thicker piece on the thigh. I like to go the extra step and just give it a quick little butterfly. If you're trying to make this into a lower calorie meal, chicken breast works perfectly fine. We're going to start off with some garlic powder, a lot of bit of sazon, coriander, some oregano, and then we finish with salt and pepper. The thighs get hit with specifically olive oil. I give them a massage to equally distribute, and then we just shower them with our spices. We want to make sure every little crevice gets love. As we go along with our prep, these are going to marinate for a couple minutes on the side. I don't care what anyone says, chicken and rice is an actual art. The combinations and flavors are honestly endless. But in my opinion, this specific combination is almost undefeated. Let's talk rice. Today we're going to be using some basmati rice, and the most important step is to give every grain a wash with some cold water. Several rinses to wash off that starch. I find using a non-stick pot and lid is the most optimal way to make this rice. Especially for this recipe, the rice gotta be nice and fluffy. To start on a medium high, we're gonna melt down some butter. Before we add our rice, we want to toast our spices. Start off with turmeric, a tiny bit of cumin and cardamom, and we just let this lightly toast for just a couple minutes. It's slightly bubbling but not burning. When it smells like flavor, we go in with our washed basmati rice. Salt goes in, and then we add veggie broth and bring this to a boil. As soon as it starts to negotiate back, shut it up with a lid, drop the heat to a low, and we're gonna let this cook for 10 to 15 minutes. Now, what is a halal cut chicken and rice without getting lost in the sauce? There are two famous sauces that we're gonna be making, and this is what takes the dish from like, I'm kind of hungry, to I need that in my stomach right now. For the red sauce, we're gonna need some chile de arbol. We're gonna snip the stem off, and then we're just gonna remove their seeds. Keep in mind, these are dried chilies. So we're gonna introduce boiling hot water and rehydrate them for about 20 minutes. If your hands come in contact with the chilies, do not touch your face. And that is exactly what I did about 20 minutes ago. Not a good time. As our chilies soak, let's make our white sauce. We need some yogurt. This is plain full-fat yogurt. If you're making this low calorie with the chicken breast, very easily you could do low-fat yogurt. It's still fantastic. I like to do the same amount in mayo. My secret ingredient is using just a little bit of Dijon. And just for the record, this Dijon mustard is white wine free. To this, we're gonna add some garlic powder, a decent amount of sazon, and then I like to splash in a tiny bit of white vinegar, as well as a little bit of lemon juice. And to finish off, we need a little bit of dried parsley. In my humble opinion, this is the optimal thickness. As I like to say, it is not official until it goes into a bottle. Back to the red sauce, we introduce the chilies to a blender, a couple spoonfuls of that chili water, several cloves of fresh heartburn, splash in white vinegar, a tiny bit of neutral oil, then we do chili powder and paprika, and then we do coriander, cumin, and a little salt. Listen, you don't need a lot of this because it is quite spicy. Just look at that beautiful color. To ensure it's very smooth, I'm gonna grab a very fine strainer and just slowly work it in so it's perfect. Okay, we might have to call up the health department because this is when it gets a little bit slightly too healthy for me. All jokes, it's just lettuce and tomato, and just let me show you how you're supposed to chop them up. We're gonna grab some normal iceberg lettuce, and we're just gonna slice as thin as possibly can. The only thing left is our tomato. I like thin slices into thick matchsticks, and then we do tiny cubes as fine as you. The vegetables shouldn't feel like a burden to eat them. That's why I like to make them super small and thin, so it feels like they're just introducing freshness in every bite. It's the final countdown. We need to cook the chicken. I always leave it to the last step so it's nice and fresh. Very simply, in a very hot cast iron, you want to introduce the chicken thighs. Chicken thighs are so merciful. Just don't overcrowd the pan and they won't steam. I'm gonna allow them to rest 5 to 10 minutes, and then I chop them up into bite-sized pieces. To serve, we make a bed out of our trusty fluffy rice. One corner is our shredded lettuce, and then we do our tomatoes. The last quadrant gets a whole lot of chicken. White and red sauce as much as you like. And now we have final product. Okay, just a little white sauce on there. A tiny bit of red sauce because this was so spicy. And as always, now bismillah. That is the perfect chicken and rice bite. I promise you that much. You will not regret the steps you took to make this.